Let's all begin in a comfortable seat. As you take this comfortable seat, you might choose to cross your ankles or your shins. Maybe let your hands rest into your lap and allow your eyes to close. If it's not comfortable to close your eyes, just let them remain open with a very soft gaze. Start now to bring your awareness to all the parts of your body that are making contact with the floor. You might immediately notice your glutes and your sits bones, the outer edges of your thighs or shins, the outer edges of your ankles or feet. And from that place of contact with the floor, that really firm foundation, allow yourself to grow tall through your spine. So you're lengthening the crown of your head up towards the ceiling. Allow your shoulders to relax and allow your hands to soften, being supported by your lap or perhaps on the floor on either side of your hips. We're now going to enter our centering, the act of bringing our awareness inward. So start to notice the sounds in the space around you. You will notice the sound of my voice, maybe the sound of traffic or nature outside your window. I have a dishwasher going in the background in the kitchen. So just take a moment to notice what you hear and the direction from which the sounds come. We'll now take the awareness to our sense of smell and start to notice any aromas in the air. Maybe you have the smell of morning coffee in your space or tea, maybe your own perfume or cologne. Take a moment to notice what you smell, if anything at all. Take the awareness now to your skin and notice what you feel on your skin. You might notice the temperature of the room or contact points between your clothing and your skin, the hair at the nape of your neck. What else does your skin feel? Tune inward again and go within your physical body, checking in with your muscles and your joints, and just notice if you feel any feedback coming from your physical body. It's pretty early in the morning, so you might still feel a sense of tightness in your muscles or your neck, your back. Maybe you went for a run this morning, so your muscles feel very tingly and energized. Notice how your physical body feels and try to do so without any positive or negative judgments, just observation. Good. Take that awareness in one step again and check in with yourself as a being. How do you feel? Your energy, your mood, your emotions. Take a moment to give yourself a check in without any positive or negative judgment, just observation. How you feel during this practice may change. You may notice sensations come and sensations go. You may aim for certain sensations like intensity or something a bit more gentle. Now that you've had a moment to check in with yourself, I encourage you to set an intention or a dedication for this practice. It's really just a word or phrase for something you want to keep in mind, or something to motivate you, or even just a small goal. Take a moment to set an intention for your practice based on how you feel and the outcome that you would like. We hold that intention or that dedication with us as we move through our practice today. And give yourself permission to revisit that intention or dedication as much as you would like. Our final step is to bring our awareness to our breathing. Start to notice if it feels more comfortable to breathe through your nose or your mouth. And then notice where the air travels in your body. Does it hover around your neck and shoulders? Is there room for it to expand and contract your chest? Does your belly move as you breathe? Give yourself a few breath cycles just to notice your natural breathing pattern. Good. Now allow your breath to deepen so that you're prolonging your inhalations and exhalations. We'll even begin to balance them so that they're the same duration of time. I'm going to lead you to a count of 4 in and a count of 4 out. Let's exhale our existing air here. Inhale for 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale 1, 2, 3, 4. And repeat. Know that you can extend or shorten the breath in any way that's supportive to you, as long as the inhalations and exhalations are the same duration of time. Let's take a few balanced breaths here. This nice, full, even breath is the sort of breathing we want to maintain during the practice. These deep breaths introduce neutrality into the nervous system, and they fuel our body in a way that supports the practice. So whenever I say remember your breath or practice your breath, come back to this technique. Even in, even out. Allow your eyes to blink open gently and give yourself a moment to adjust to the light in your space. We've been sitting for a few moments, so you might have some little intuitive stretches that you want. Go ahead and take those, anything that feels good. And we'll all meet up with the opposite cross of the legs, if you have your legs crossed. And let's begin our asana practice. So we're going to start with the head and the neck. Start with 5 very slow and intentional neck rolls. 5 circles in one direction, followed immediately by 5 circles in the other. Notice how the neck feels and any parts of the neck or shoulders that feel like they need a little extra space and attention. Good. Take it 5 circles the other way. Try to keep your shoulders and your chest still so that only the head and the neck move. And once you've done 5 on each side, start to take it side to side, left to right. As you're moving your chin from one shoulder to the other, also take your gaze in that direction. So you're sending your eyes to the far left as you turn left, and sending your eyes to the far right as you turn right. 3 more times here. And then we'll take the chin and the eyes up and down, starting to warm up the cervical spine as well as all the little muscles around the eyes, which is so helpful if we use a screen or drive a lot and we're constantly looking forward. Let's take it twice more each direction. Up, down, up, and down. Beautiful. Bring your head towards center, your gaze towards center. We're going to take our arms into cactus arms, elbows in line with shoulders. Squeeze your shoulder blades together as you lift your chest. And then exhale to draw your forearms in. Inhale, squeeze the shoulder blades, lift the chest. Exhale, forearms together, concave the chest. Good. As you keep moving in this way, link the movement with your breath. So it's completely fine if you're moving faster or slower than me. Good. Let's go for 5 more, starting to move your pelvis as well. So you're rocking forwards and backwards on your sits bones. We'll go here for 3, 2, last one. Good. Go ahead and release your hands down. Roll out the shoulders. And we're going to take 2 side bends. So we'll leave our left hand down on the mat. We'll reach the right arm up, palm facing in. Start to hinge towards, actually, let me mirror you. So this is your left hand down, right arm up, and we are folding towards our left. Take a few breaths here, drawing your top shoulder back and taking your gaze just beyond your top elbow. Nice deep breaths. Good. One more cycle here on this side. And immediately take it to the other side, placing your right hand on the mat outside of your hip, lifting the left arm up, palm facing in, and starting to hinge towards your right. If you find that your top arm is sort of covering your forehead or your eyes, guide your top shoulder back and think about lifting your chest towards the ceiling. You may even need to come out of the side bend a little bit to make that happen, and that's completely okay. One more full breath on this side. And use your exhalation to release both hands down. We're going to interlace the fingers behind the lower back. You can use your strap if you'd like. Squeeze your shoulders and elbows towards one another. Good. Then drop your chin to your chest. Take a few breaths here. Try to let the head feel very heavy, the neck very relaxed. Beautiful. Final breath. And inhale to bring the head towards center and exhale to release. Let's come into tabletop. So for tabletop position, we want to stack our wrists directly under our shoulders, and we want the knees under the hips, about hip distance apart. You can tuck your toes under and start to press the balls of the feet down into the floor. Good. Spread your fingers nice and wide so you have a stable foundation, and allow the creases of your elbows to face forward. Inhale, create a little back bend. Exhale, pull your navel and spine up towards the ceiling, letting your head drop. Inhale, find your cow pose, and exhale to find your cat pose. Beautiful. Inhale, tailbone and gaze lift. Exhale, tailbone and gaze drop. Twice more. Good. This final time, we're going to come into a neutral position for the spine and walk your legs in towards the midline. Maybe your legs even touch. We're going to send our right leg back, pressing the ball of the foot into the mat, and then press your hands down and forward. This is going to shift your weight back into the ball of your right foot and send your heel beyond the ball of your foot, getting a little calf stretch. Breathe here. Beautiful. Bend into that right knee once again and give your right hip 5 circles, taking your bent knee and drawing little circles beside your body in the air. We're going to do 5 in each direction. And then switch. Beautiful. After that 5th circle, go ahead and let the knee release down to the floor, and we'll do the same things on the other side. So the ball of your left foot goes back, it presses into the floor. Press your hands down and forward and send your left heel beyond the ball of your left foot. Little calf stretch here. All the pressing is also warming up your shoulders and your arms. Then release, drawing your left knee in towards your left elbow and beginning your 5 big circles in each direction. 3, 4, 5. Switch. Take your circles the opposite way. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Beautiful. Keep those legs towards the midline. Tuck your toes under and start to walk your weight back. We're pressing the balls of the feet down into the mat, creating a little space in the toes and the arches of the feet. If this is good, you'll work here with your hands on the floor for support, or maybe even on your blocks. If you want more sensation, stack all of your body weight over your heels and allow gravity to promote the stretch in the toes and the arches of the feet. As we're here, we have a little distraction, so don't worry. We're going to take both arms forward in 5 big circles. And then we will take both of those arms backwards. Now remember, if you have your hands on the floor for support during the toe curl, keep your hands there so there's not too much pressure in your feet. We'll all meet up back in tabletop position, untucking the toes and tapping the tops of the feet out on the floor. All right, beautiful. We're going to keep the legs in towards the midline of the body. Make sure your fingers are still spread nice and wide. And we'll send our right leg back this time, floating above the floor. Now it's common for the hip to open so that you can lift your leg higher, but try to keep your hip point on the right side facing directly down to the floor, all 5 toes down to the floor. Pull your belly button away from the mat and lengthen the back of your neck so that your spine is as long as possible. Now, if this is enough sensation in your body, work here. If you want more, you might take your left hand slightly forward and prop up onto your left fingertips. If you want more, you might send your left bicep near your left ear, extending your left arm entirely. Hold here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release hand and knee down to the mat. Other side. So start with the left leg floating, all 5 toes and left hip point down to the floor. Maybe you work here, or take your right hand slightly forward, tented upon your fingertips. Work there, or take your right bicep in line with your right ear. Everybody pull the midsection away from the floor, activating your abdominal muscles. Hold and breathe for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Beautiful. Release the hand and the knee down. Good. Now let's do a little bit of love for these wrists and these arms. We're going to rotate our fingers outward to the side so that your wrists face one another. Start to shift your weight gently from left hand to right hand and back again. Getting in a little stretch for the wrist and the forearms. Twice more on each side. Now, if this is good for you and this is a great stretch, you'll stay here. If you want more sensation, start to rotate your fingertips back towards your knees so that your wrists face forward. You can stay nice and stable here, no need to rock forwards or backwards. But if you are seeking more sensation, you might choose to bring your weight into the balls of your fingers and your fingertips, letting the heels of the hands lift away from the floor. That's just icing on the cake though. So if it's too much, keep your hands entirely on the floor for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Rotate the hands forward. Keep the tops of the feet on the floor, shoelace side down. Start to walk your hands back. So now you're stretching the fronts of the ankles. You might keep your hands down on the floor for support, but most people are fairly comfortable here. So we're going to take both arms and hands forward. Make 2 fists and wrap your thumbs outside of your index fingers. So it's like your thumbs can hold the index fingers into place. Drop your knuckles down to the floor. Keep straight elbows to the best of your ability. And try to curl your top knuckles all the way to the floor, getting a little stretch for the tops of the wrists and the forearms. We'll take a few breaths here. And then allow yourself to release your fingers, give them a nice little wiggle, and place them back onto the floor for tabletop. All right, we're gonna make our way to standing. We're passing through bear pose and downward facing dog to get there. So let's curl the toes under and press the balls of the feet down into the floor. Round your back as if you were coming into a cat pose, but we're going to press our hands and feet down so much that our knees lift just 1/2 inch above the mat. They might lift more if you need it, but aim for 1/2 inch. Press evenly into both hands and hover for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release the knees down. Good. Walk your hands forward 1 handprint. And now we'll make our way to downward facing dog, pressing into the hands and feet to lift the hips up and back. I recommend starting with a deep bend in your knees, taking your rib cage towards your thighs, and slowly straightening your legs until you feel that first nice stretch in the back of your hamstrings and your calves. Your knees do not need to be straight here. Pedal out the feet, the ankles, and the knees, getting a little circulation back into the legs. And then we'll slowly and mindfully start to tiptoe our feet towards our hands, ending in a forward fold with our feet hip distance apart, hands joined to opposite elbow, and the upper body draping over the thighs. Ragdoll pose. Take a few breaths here. This is one I absolutely love for decompressing the spine and starting to wake up the hamstrings.
One more full, delicious breath here. And then we will roll up to standing one vertebra at a time, letting your head be the last thing to rise.
Beautiful. If you have any props, like particularly a block that you're using, it could be a good idea to bring that onto your mat with you and place it just in front of your feet, about 6 to 8 inches. If you're not using a block, don't worry about it. We're going to take our arms around and up, reaching our fingertips towards the ceiling and taking the gaze into the space between the hands. Whenever you exhale, allow yourself to reverse that movement, bringing the arms down and hinging at your hips to a forward fold. Now, props. You might take your hands to the block or your shins, or even bend your knees very, very deeply so that your forward fold feels a bit better on your lower back. Take a few breaths in the forward fold. I definitely recommend bending the knees first thing in the morning. Good. One more full breath here. And we move into our half lift. You may place your hands on your shins or your block and lengthen your spine so that your body is making the shape of an L almost. Extend the crown of the head away from the tailbone. Straighten both of your knees. And allow your shoulders to draw down the back, like you want to stick your shoulder blades into your back pockets. Take a few breaths here. Good. Now we're coming into another forward fold. So maybe your hands come to the floor or the ankles. You allow the crown of the head to drop towards the floor, and the entire upper body softens and drapes over the legs. A few breaths here. Good. Next inhalation, press into both feet, rise up to standing, taking your arms around and up, returning to our first posture. And we'll exhale to release the arms by our sides. Half of a sun salutation. And we're going to take that again a little bit faster. Inhale the arms up. Exhale to forward fold. Inhale to a half lift. Exhale to fold again. Inhale, rise up to standing, fingertips overhead. And exhale, hands to your side. Good. Final time. Inhale, arms up. Exhale to fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise up to standing, fingertips and gaze overhead. Exhale, hands to your side, Tadasana. Good. Let's do a few standing poses. So we're going to bring our feet together, or at least squeeze them in towards the midline of your body. Take your hands to your hips. Pull your belly button back towards your spine, and then also tuck in your top ribs. So every aspect of your abdomen is engaged. Shift your weight into your left foot and press the left foot into the floor. You'll then lift your right leg up, sending your knee in line with your hip or a little higher. And take a few breaths here, feeling all the contact points between your left foot and the floor. And standing as tall as you can, so you're not leaning forwards or backwards to counterweight the lifted leg. Good. Final breath. Exhale to step your right foot back and find a lunge. All right. So with our lunge, we want to stack the right heel over the ball of the foot and bend deeply into your left knee. Maybe your knee even stacks over your ankle, or it's a little bit more of a shallow angle. If this is good for you, work here. If you want more of a challenge for your balance, you might choose to lift both arms up, palms facing in. If the arms are lifted, traction your thumbs back behind you, and then relax the shoulders down the back. Breathe here. Nice, deep, even breaths. Final breath cycle. Use that next exhalation to release your left hand down or right hand down to the floor inside of your left foot, coming into a twist. So if it's a little challenging to bring your right hand to the floor, this is where you might choose to use your block, for example, if you're using one. We'll turn our chest towards the bent knee and take your gaze up towards your lifted thumb. Breathe here. Final breath cycle in your twisted lunge. And we will exhale to take both of the hands down to the floor. Bend deeply into both knees and step your back foot forward. One big step or lots of little steps. We'll meet up in a forward fold at the front edge of the mat. Knees bent as deeply as you need, or maybe even letting your hands rest on the block. Breathe here. Good. As we come up to standing, we will take the arms around and up, reaching the fingertips overhead, and we'll exhale, hands to our hips. Let's take that to the other side. We press down firmly through the right foot. Let the left knee lift. Take a few breaths, finding your balance, focusing on the mound of your right big toe for support. Good. One more full cycle of breath here. Really press the floor away with your standing leg, and then we'll send this lifted leg back into our high lunge. Good. Deep bend in your right knee. Lift your left knee away from the floor and turn both of your hip points so that they're both facing forward. This is good. Work here or take both arms up, tractioning your shoulder blades towards one another, pulling your lower belly in and up. Final breath cycle in our high lunge, and we'll all meet up in the twist, taking our left hand to the floor inside of the right foot, or maybe to the block if that felt good on the first side, and start to rotate your chest towards your bent knee. So imagine you were squeezed between two slices of bread into a sandwich. Everything is nice and centered in the midline. We'll breathe here. Final breath cycle. And use an exhalation to take your hands down to the floor, framing your foot, and step the back foot forward into a forward fold. A few breath cycles here. In your forward fold, try to balance your weight between the balls of the feet and the heels so that you're nice and even in your weight distribution. Good. One more full breath cycle in our forward fold, and we will inhale to reverse swan dive our way up to standing, and then take the hands to the hips again. Let's keep building. Shift your weight into your right foot. Lift your left knee up. One more breath. Use your next exhalation to send the left leg back. High lunge. Few breaths here. A little bit shorter in our holds now. Now we come into the twist, taking your left hand to the inside of the right foot and rotating your chest towards your bent knee. Few breaths here. Release your left knee down to the floor, still in your twist, and start to bend your left knee so that you can lift your left toes away from the mat. You might work here, working to squeeze the left heel in towards the body, or use your lifted right hand to reach back and grab hold of your foot, squeezing that foot in towards your body for a little extra quad stretch and hip flexor, depending on where your heel is. Take a few breaths here. Beautiful. Next time that you exhale, release the lifted left foot and take both hands to frame your front foot here. We'll tuck the back toes under, lift the knee away from the floor, and step forward, finding your forward fold once again. Take just a few breath cycles here, allowing your head and neck to soften. And then we will reverse swan dive our way up to standing, arms overhead, and exhale, hands to your hips. Second side. Left foot presses down, right knee lifts up. Step it back. High lunge. Next comes the twist. Right hand down to the inside of the left foot. Twist towards your bent knee. Lower your right knee this time. That back knee touches the mat. Start to bend deeply into your right knee as you squeeze your heel in towards your body. Or take your lifted arm back for your heel and manually draw your foot closer to your body. A few breaths here. If you've taken the bind, release it. Allow both hands to frame your front foot as your chest rotates forward. With the back toes tucked under, we'll step it forward, coming into a forward fold at the front of the mat. Breathe deeply, soft neck, soft shoulders, supple spine. This is going to be a little bit different, so keep bending your knees until you're able to lower both of your knees down to the floor in tabletop. We will cross the shins and then roll back into a seated position. Now, if that doesn't feel great on your knees, just know that you can always take your shins to the side any way that feels good to get down into a comfortable cross-legged position. Bring the soles of your feet towards each other so that they touch, and your heels are about a foot away from your groin. We're going to place the hands on our ankles. Inhale to lift your chin and your chest, and exhale to fold forward. Think about bringing your nose beyond your toes so you're getting a lot of length in your spine before you fold in. Breathe here. One more full breath cycle in our cobbler's pose with a forward fold. And we will inhale to rise up to seated. Shins or ankles cross. Twist towards your left. Now, as you're twisting, keep pulling your navel back towards your spine. It helps to activate your transverse abdominis, which can protect your spine and pretty much your whole center core as you're twisting. Let's take it to the other side. Twisting now in the opposite direction. Still engaging your core. And keep the back of the neck long, so you're even taking that twist into your cervical spine. Beautiful. Take both of your shoulders and your gaze forward. And I'm going to swing around to face you as you find a comfortable seat once again. Letting your hands rest on your lap, maybe letting the eyes close or softening the gaze. And starting to deepen the breath, evening out the inhalations and exhalations. Starting to slow down the heart rate and bring that sense of ease back into the physical body. So here's your check-in. How do you feel? Your energy, your mood. Just kind of notice your feelings right now compared to when we first started practice. And there's no right or wrong answer. How do your muscles and your joints feel? Allow yourself to notice that. Are there any different sensations on your skin? Anything that's new or has changed or stopped? Are there any new aromas in the air? Anything different that you smell? Is there anything that you hear that's new? Any sounds that have stopped or changed? I invite you now to place both palms together, fingertips to fingertips, and recall the intention or dedication that you set for your practice. I invite you to consider how you might implement that intention or dedication off of your mat and into the rest of your week. Taking that intention or dedication with you, I bow in reverence to you and your practice with so much gratitude. Thank you for being here and thank you for taking care of yourselves this morning. Take care, everybody. Be kind.